What's going on, everybody? It is your boy Chris, man. I am here at the Work Hard, Play Harder podcast. It is Thursday, February 26, 2026. My name is Chris Drummond. I am a freelance sports reporter based out of upstate New York here and proprietor of this podcast, Work Hard, Play Harder, where I bring individuals on to talk about their why and get to know them outside of their occupation. I got a very special guest that's on with me today. My man is covering the LA Galaxy for the Sporting Tribune. He is also a Cal State Fullerton graduate, and he's also, like me, a substitute teacher. I introduce to you Anthony Bautista, and we're going to talk to him about his why of getting into sports journalism, but we also going to ask him some get-to-know-you questions. So without any further ado, I introduce to you my new friend, Ant. Welcome to the podcast.
Wow, what an intro. Thank you, Chris. I really appreciate it, man. It's nice to meet you, and I'm glad to be on here. I'm very thankful. Thank you for having me on, and I'm excited for this.
Absolutely, dog. And it was a no-brainer to have you on, like I said, because I love passionate people that want to cover sports just like myself, and that's what you are. And listen, my first question to you is the same as it always is with everybody that comes on here, and that is, what is your why? Why do you do what you do? Did you have any role models or any inspirations maybe growing up? But ultimately, what is your why for getting into the sports media industry?
Oh, man, I love this question. So there's a lot of layers to it, I'm sure, no one answer is the same from any other one. But
Yeah.
My journey started, I'm originally from Williams, California, up there. We're the halfway point between Sacramento and Chico. We're about an hour away from each, and there's not too much going on up there. But I do remember vividly, my dad would turn on SportsCenter in the mornings when he was getting up for work. Mm-hmm. And instead of, asking my dad, hey, can you turn on the cartoons when I was growing up, I would sit there and watch SportsCenter with him. And it got to the point where I was asking my dad sometimes, hey, can you put on SportsCenter for me? Or what channel is SportsCenter on? And from then it clicked and it exploded. And I watched ESPN every day. I mean, it was everything for me. And then I got into sports. Truthfully, sports, it kept me out of a lot of trouble because I was always busy. I was always playing something. And like a lot of journalists that cover sports, once I realized that sports dream was not what I thought it was going to be. Everybody thinks they're going to be Walter Payton or Devin Hester or something. Nope, not me. So I decided, let me pick this pen up. Let me see what's going on over here in the journalism world. And I got to give credit to my high school. She was an AP English teacher. And embarrassingly enough, there was a summer assignment that I'm not proud to admit this, but as high schoolers do, I copied off a friend. And She caught me. And she let me know, like, hey, this is not okay. She gave me the whole spiel. And she asked me, she said, what do you want to do when you graduate? And I said, I don't know. I really like sports. Is there anything where I could just talk about sports and get paid for it? And she goes, yes, actually, there is a career, journalism, sports journalism. Here's the thing, though. You can't get caught plagiarizing. You can't do any of that. You can't do plagiarizing. You can't get anything from anybody. It has to be you, original. So if you really want to do that, this is not what you need to be doing. And that was a big wake-up call for me. I mean, I was basically on autopilot, and, I was good enough as a student. I wasn't perfect, wasn't terrible, but good enough. I passed, did everything I needed to do. But that was my junior year, and that sparked everything for me. That was like a huge wake-up call. And from that point on, I really took it seriously. The only problem was my high school didn't have a school newspaper, anything like that. We had a county newspaper, but it just focused on, like, city council meetings. Yeah, just local news. Which is fine. That's great. But there wasn't any opportunities for me at the time. So I knew I needed to branch out. And as an 18-year-old kid, I packed my bags, decided to leave everything I ever knew, and I moved about 450 miles south. I came down to Fullerton in 2018. I've been here since. I took a little break during COVID. I did move back home during that year when everybody was just at home.
Oh, yeah, trapped in the house, ain't no doubt.
Exactly. So I did spend a little bit of time back in Williams, but ever since 2018, apart from COVID, I've been in Fullerton in the midst of it all, just trying to get my feet wet, trying to get my hands dirty, do it all, man. I got to Cal State Fullerton and really try to get busy, and that's what really got me going, man. It all started in Williams, and the turning point was AP English, man. I got caught cheating.
I feel that. I feel that. And I appreciate the transparency, dog. I really do. I appreciate it. And listen, everybody has a moment. People that come on this platform, and even people that don't come on this platform, everybody seems to have that turning page moment when they become, wow, a wake up call, eye opener, however you want to call it. I know for me, Kobe Bryant was one of my idols growing up. Growing up in San Diego, I'm a huge Lakers fan, so I knew sports was something that I really loved. And like you asked your dad about Sports Center. I used to sit with my dad and watch the games. The games used to come on NBC and TNT and all that, and we used to always watch the games together. And that inspired me. And I'm sure, like you played sports in high school, and I played sports in high school as well. And we kind of knew what the dream was. We was like, yeah, professional might not be in our, it might not be in our wheelhouse. You know what I mean? But we got to find something because we love sports so much, so we want to incorporate it in our lives. And I wasn't the best writer at all. I couldn't write to save my life. If somebody put me at gunpoint, you might as well pull the trigger because it was just that bad how much I was writing. But the reason why that was the case is because I was writing about stuff like Moby Dick and English papers, and I didn't know, like you, I didn't know that you can write about sports and actually get paid for it. And when I first got my first opportunity as a correspondent, I went to college at Kennesaw State University in Georgia, and it was a correspondent position where they was like, "Yeah, man, you can go cover high school football." I was like, "What?" He said, "Yeah, we'll pay you per article that you write." I said, "Oh," I perked up. I'm like, "Hell yeah, give me a credential, and let's go." I
That's
didn't
right.
care if it was high school. I didn't care what it was. It brought back the hunger in me, Ant. It brought back the hunger in me to want to do it. And I know you know what I'm talking about because
Oh yeah.
when you get that first credential for what you're doing, it excites you so much. You walk around the field, you doing it, and you don't care what anybody else says, whether they try to diminish it or not, or they even try to lift you up. It's like, man, this is special. This is what I want to do. This is why I'm putting in the work that I'm putting in the work to do. Like at the Daily Titan, I'm sure you had those thoughts, right?
Oh man, yes, truthfully, and Daily Titan was awesome. Like, everybody says like there's no newsroom like a college newsroom, and that's true.
No
I
question.
I made some of my best friends that I still talk to. And I loved it, and we really went through, the best of times and the worst of times
Words of
together.
times, yes.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and that includes things that I wasn't even mentally prepared for. Like there was a Angela Davis was actually speaking at Cal State Fullerton, and
Okay.
this was when I was the managing editor at the Daily Titan, and it was a big
Okay.
deal, right? So that already was like a all hands on deck event.
Right.
UC Irvine, who's one of our rivals, was also on campus for a basketball game. So that
Mm-hmm.
was, the sports desk was over there, news and everybody else that was, reporting on Angela Davis was over here. And there was a lot going on. And myself and the editor in chief were kind of going back and forth, just making sure everybody had what they needed, helping out any way that we could.
For sure.
And in the midst of all this chaos, we start hearing, a bomb threat, the bomb squad is coming. There's, they're
Right.
bringing in dogs, and we're whoa, and so that just spiraled. Luckily, there was no actual threat, but somebody did call in a bomb, which seems to be common at Angela Davis events. Sadly,
Right.
that
Right.
was insane. I was like, dude, it is 2023. We're still doing this.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that was crazy, and stuff like that. I mean, yes, it's hectic. There's chaotic. There's a million things going on at once. But once you're done with it, and you look around, and once the dust settles, and you look around the rubble, and you see who's still standing, and it's your colleagues, and those are the moments that were like, oh wow, like I can really do this. Covering things
Absolutely.
like that, protests in Anaheim, all kinds of stuff outside of sports that also ignited that flame as well.
I love that, Ant, because I was just about to follow up and ask you this bonus question because you went to Cal State Fullerton at a time where, COVID and also the tragic loss of Kobe Bryant and also some of those baseball players that went to Cal State Fullerton. Do you remember that particular time of day of where you was at Cal State Fullerton when that transpired? Because I believe that transpired in your time frame of when you went there.
That's right. So, oh no, 2020. So actually, I was at Fullerton College. Sorry,
Oh,
I started at Fullerton College. So I moved
Got
away,
you.
went to Fullerton College because, actually, I'm sorry, I should have mentioned this, but I got denied from Cal State Fullerton out of high school.
Wow.
And
Okay.
I really wanted to get there. I thought it was really cool, and I wanted to get away from home. And I had heard about people like Mark Stein, and I was like, oh man, like this seems like this place to be. They're
Hmm.
producing people that are in the field, and it's affordable.
Right.
And then they denied me, and I appealed it and everything. And I remember one of the counselors telling me like, hey, listen, if this is where you really want to be, come to a local, junior college, and if you have a good GPA, they'll automatically accept you.
Accept you. Yep.
So I did that, and I became undeniable. And
Hmm.
I was at Fullerton College at that time, and I was the sports editor. And I had just started as sports editor, so that was crazy. I remember waking up, I was under the weather, I was feeling sick,
Hmm.
and I like everybody, not everybody, but I'm assuming a lot of people just thought like, oh, there's no way, what? Like, nah, this is fake.
I thought it was a
And
joke. I really did.
right, and
Hmm.
and I'll give TMZ credit. Ever since then, their reporting has been a lot cleaner when it comes to like deaths and stuff like that. But that
Absolutely.
whole debacle the day of was so confusing. It went
Right.
from Kobe plus his entire family, Kobe plus his daughters, and then we found out it was Kobe and Gianna and the baseball players,
Right.
and the baseball coach, I believe, right, and then
Yes.
his daughter's
And the
teammates, and
and the pilot too. Yeah.
awful, awful. And I just remember it was a gloomy day, and there isn't too many days where it's gloomy outside in Southern California, but that I feel like
Right.
really set the tone of like how dark, and it was like a doomsday event. You know what I mean? It just didn't feel right. And then you heard about that, and it didn't add up at first. And then once everything was confirmed, it was like, wow, this really happened. And you go
Right.
outside, and there's people crying. I remember because I lived in an apartment like a block away from Cal State Fullerton's campus, and right underneath my apartment was an 85-degree cafe. And I remember walking in there and seeing people bawling like
Yeah.
uncontrollably, as if they lost like a family member or a pet or something. And that was the impact that Kobe Bryant had in Southern California. I'm sure you've been around here, but man,
Absolutely.
like he really was the adopted son of LA. Like everybody was affected by that.
No question. And at that time, I was in Atlanta, Georgia, going to college, and I had looked at the news, and like you said, just couldn't believe it. And I had to go to work that night. I was working overnight at that particular time,
Mm.
and I had to prepare myself because I was like, man, it was a week before my birthday. I would never forget. It's January 26th, and my birthday is February 2nd. So I knew I was like, man, I don't know if I could do this shift tonight because I was bawling my eyes out as well. But he was such a beloved figure at that particular time. But I knew I definitely had to ask you about that because of your Cal State Fullerton ties and you being in that area at that particular time. That had to be a crazy time to do reporting, especially being a sports editor. You had to, run a heck of a sports page just on that alone. No question about that. So I definitely wanted to ask you about that. But even tying that in, you did pick Cal State Fullerton. I want to know, were there any other schools that could have persuaded you from going to Cal State, or did you have any other schools on the horizon, or did you know that Cal State was your number one school?
So I didn't always know Cal State Fullerton was going to be my number one school. When I
Hmm.
was growing up, actually, this was the time, RIP the Pac-10. But this was when guys like Aaron Rodgers, Marshawn Lynch,
Hmm.
Deshaun Jackson, the
You talking
Jeff
about University
Tedford,
of California? Yes.
California, Berkeley. That
Yes.
was the place to be. It seemed like it was like, oh man, these guys are putting guys in the NFL. It seemed
Hmm.
really cool. The campus was like part city, part forest. Like I was like, oh man, this seems really cool.
Right.
But I mean, truthfully, I just didn't have the grades for it. And the other thing was, if I really wanted to pursue journalism, I knew that UC Berkeley only has like a master's program. I think I don't know if that's
Right.
changed, but at the time
Right.
it was just a master's program. So I was like, well, might as well go, somewhere else. So
Hmm.
then I started, just asking around, asking different people. And one of my dad's coworkers, my dad, he was working at Sun Valley Rice. It was a rice mill and dryer out in Arbuckle, California. And one of his coworkers, his daughter actually went to Cal State Fullerton. And I was either in eighth grade or freshman at the time. And he told my dad, and he said, hey, does your son want to go to school? I mean, they talked a little bit, and he goes, oh, well, there's a school over there in Orange County. It's called Fullerton, Cal State Fullerton. And my daughter really likes it. Have your son check it out. And he mentioned like communications, not just journalism. He said the entire communications department was really good. So I looked into it, and then that's when I realized, like, oh wow, Mark Stein went to school here. And Mark Stein, I remember seeing him on ESPN, in the mornings when I was growing up.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then there's guys like right before I got there, Harrison Fagan, who was covering the Lakers with SB Nation at the time. Yep. He went there like 2 or 3 years before I got to Cal State Fullerton. So it just made it made sense in my head, like, hey, I'm balling on a budget. This is a great school, far away from home, close enough to where, if I really need to get home, I can get home. So I gave it a chance. And it was not perfect, like everybody else's journey. We go through ups and downs. You give
no doubt
an 18-year-old freedom.
Mm-hmm.
You give an 18-year-old freedom and 300 sunny days a year, you're going to make some mistakes. But I learned so much, and it was a completely different culture from what I grew up around. I grew up in a small agricultural town. I think 95% Hispanic, and truthfully, I bet 94 of that 95% was Mexican. So not a whole lot of diversity,
Right.
And coming to Cal State Fullerton, man, there's people from all over, and it was cool. Like one of my favorite things at Cal State Fullerton was just asking people, like, "Hey, where are you from, man? What do you like to do out there? What do you guys like to eat? What music do you guys?" I like to pick the brain of a local, of a place I've never been to. Like I made friends from Poland. I made friends from London. I made a friend from that I still talk to this day. He's from Ciudad Obregón, Sonora, in Mexico.
Okay.
And it's awesome, man. Like I'm just meeting people from all over the place, and places I never would have, gone on my own had I stayed in Williams.
I love that. I do. I love that, Ant. That's what's up. Now, mind you, for me, I went to Kennesaw State University, and I had quite the journey as well. I was a non-traditional student. For me, I did not have the grades either, because I was like, I went to high school, then I took kind of late. I graduated in San Diego. I thought I was going to go to San Diego State, and then life happened where my mom kind of took us out of San Diego, and I'm like, oh man, now I got to relocate. And all I've ever known was San Diego at that point. And I was like, okay, relocating to a whole different atmosphere to the South. Now I'm over here, and I'm really out of place. So I became a non-traditional student when I went to Kennesaw State, but I love the thing that you said. For me, San Diego was diverse, but moving to a different culture in the South is much different than the West. No question about that. It's a lot more slower paced, no question in the South, but the food was different, the people was different, the vibes was different. And I embraced it. That's when I started saying in my mind, you know what, this traveling thing, I think I want to be able to do sports, but I want to be able to travel and go places and see different things, experience different cultures, because you never know who you're gonna meet that's gonna impact your life. And that's kind of a correlation to this sports reporting thing. You just never know who you're going to see that's going to impact your life. Now, I've also had the pleasure of, and the privilege and the blessing of doing the Super Bowl last year, which was absolutely amazing. 6,500 people there in New Orleans, and we're talking about all different ethnicities, backgrounds, genders, which is great. Saw more women than I ever thought I would ever see, which made me smile, because we need more women in our profession. Right. And I loved being able to get to know people and get everybody and be able to network, is what I should say, because networking is so key in our profession. And that's a great segue, because now what I want to do is I want to get to know you a little bit. And I want to ask you some favorite questions, okay? So, let me ask you this first favorite question, which is, favorite meal that you like to cook?
Oh, man, that I like to cook. I'm not the best chef, to be honest with you, man. But, I mean, I can get down with some quesadillas or something, make a little carne asada. Honestly, yeah, a little carne asada with like rice and beans, something nice and easy.
I'm with you on that.
But my favorite meal that I don't cook, when my grandma makes her enchiladas and she uses the red sauce.
Oh my goodness. And
that,
oh
to
my
me,
goodness.
A plate of that is heaven on earth, man.
It's you talking the gospel, the Matthew, Luke, and the John right now. I'm telling you, what, no question. I love me some enchiladas, baby. No question about that. I can't whip it up, but anybody who know how to do that, I'm on board with that for sure. I'm a huge taco person, so
There we go.
Mexican food or Hispanic food is my number one dish. I love anything Hispanic food, carne asada. I love rice and beans. I love tacos, rolled tacos, don't matter. Carne asada fries. People don't know what that is out here in New York, but I
Oh,
like carne asada fries. You know what I'm talking about, right?
oh
Okay.
yeah.
Yes, Lord.
Yep.
Yes,
Shout out to
Lord.
San Diego. You know, they've
Mhm.
created many things, but man, carne asada fries might be number one.
Hello. I'm trying to tell you. There's no question about that. No question. So that's my number one thing. Love Hispanic food. You got good taste, my boy. There's no question. Favorite concert you've ever attended?
Oh man. So it was actually one that I covered. I freelanced. I was doing a story for Delos, the Latino section of the LA Times, and I got to cover a Junior H concert. And he's a corridos artist, so like he sings ballads, he sings some sad songs. You know, truthfully, they are pretty sad in
Sure,
Spanish.
sure.
And it was really cool because at the time he was 23 and I was 23, and he was, selling out Crypto.com Arena, and I thought, I was on top of the world because I was writing for the LA Times, and that was really cool because they gave me 2 passes to go to the concert, and my best friend from Williams, he's also a really big Junior H fan, so I told him, I said, hey man, I have an extra ticket, you think you can make your way down here? And he said, yes, I can make my way down there. So he came and we went together, and it was awesome, man. Like he got to see me in my element in work, which is, he didn't really see that before. So it was cool. He got
Yeah.
to see me interviewing people on the ground, and then we got to enjoy the show, and it was awesome. Like that was a cool experience because I got to, I got to work hard and play hard.
Oh, yes, you did. No doubt. No pun intended, baby. I love that, Ant. I love that. Now, I would say my favorite concert is probably The Weeknd. The Weeknd is definitely one of my favorite concerts. He's the artist that I absolutely love. But a
What a
sleeper
performer.
concert was Ozuna. I don't know if you ever seen Ozuna live, but Ozuna is quite the vibe. And one of my favorite songs of his is Sosa, if you know what that
Oh,
song
there
is.
we go. Yes,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Osuna, I remember, man, like that era, like right before COVID, he was hot, like flaming hot, especially
Yes, he
here
was.
on college campuses. This guy was, you couldn't walk 5 steps without hearing somebody blaring his music.
Hmm. No doubt about it. No doubt. So Ozuna, shout out to you. You the man. No question about that. I like that. Favorite place you've ever traveled to?
Oh man, I love this because I try to every year visit where my grandparents are from, my maternal grandparents, which is Araro, Michoacan, Araro, in the state of Michoacan in Mexico, and it's beautiful, man. Like it's just a very small town. It's on the countryside. We're about an hour away from the biggest city in the state, which is Morelia. So we're really off the grid, and it's lovely, man. I get to see so many different family members that I don't normally see. Whether it's my family that's still in Mexico, I have family that moved out to Chicago, and they go visit sometimes.
Oh
I
yeah.
have a lot of family in Watsonville, in the Santa Cruz area, and they go visit, and it's beautiful, man. I get to catch up with everybody, and the thing I love the most about going to Araro, one of my aunts, they inherited some natural hot springs that they turned into
Oh wow.
like essentially you can take like a private shower, or you can just go and put your feet in there, whatever you want to do, and rent out a room with
Right.
your own little hot spring, and
Yeah.
it's awesome. I love going in there, and I feel so refreshed. I think they said there's a lot of sulfur in the water, and it has like a lot of like healing properties, and it's great. Like it's stuff that like I said before, I never would have done. Let's say like had I came over here and not had that connection to my grandparents, and
Absolutely.
I'm so grateful that I was able to grow up with them, and they're still alive today, and I get to go visit, and it's great. I went last May in 2025, and that was such a fun time.
I love that. And I'm going to stay with you on Mexico and name another city. And my favorite was Cancun. Going to
Ooh,
Cancun, Mexico, was one of my favorite spots. Went there with some friends when I was out there. It was just a great time. I love Mexico. As I told you, I love Mexican food. I love Mexican scenery. Obviously, I love the Mexican ladies as well. Hispanic ladies, I should say. There's no question about that. There ain't no shame in my game in saying
nope,
that. I'm sorry.
nope. Hey,
No
hey, that's
question.
okay.
Yes, indeed. So I love everything that's engulfed about the Mexican culture. No question about that. So Cancun, great city, great host, great people, and great vibes. So yes, that's definitely one of my favorite cities. We're
Love it.
sports people. So I got to ask you a sports question. It's a two-parter.
Yes,
Favorite
sir.
sport you like to watch on TV? Favorite sport you like to attend in person? They could be the same sport.
Okay, this is a cool question. So, attend in person, I think there is no more American experience that you can have than pulling up to a ballpark on a summer day for like a 1 p.m. first pitch with you and a bunch of your buddies. You know, like
Love it.
that is a top tier experience to me. I will never forget uh, me and one of my other friends from Cal State Fullerton and my brother. We decided, so we were still at that apartment right here by Cal State Fullerton, and Shohei Ohtani was still on the Angels. They're
Yeah.
playing the San Francisco Giants. Otani's pitching. Tickets are like $9. So I tell my brother and Robert, hey, dude, what are we doing? Let's go. And so
Right.
we packed our bags, we got in the car, and we went.
Right.
It
I
it
love
was
it. I love it,
yeah. I
dog.
think baseball, like those are the experiences that you can't really replicate in another sport.
Yeah.
Sadly, because I mean the prices are getting pretty expensive, especially for games like football. You know, NBA games are pretty expensive. Baseball is still relatively affordable if the team's not doing that great, aka the Angels.
Yeah, you ain't lying about them. Oh boy.
But my
No
favorite to
question.
watch on TV, I've always loved American football. I mean, I cover soccer now, and it's great. It's a beautiful game, but man, American football there's just something about it. I love that. I think, there's 88 opportunities to get somebody on the field. When you include like offense, defense, special teams, you know,
Sure.
PAT, punt block, all that stuff, and I love that. Like I love that growing up. If it showed me that everybody has a role, you know, like it doesn't matter whether you're the most athletic guy on the team, but if
Mhm.
your kicker misses the game-winning kick, you guys lose. And that stuff
Absolutely.
like that, you know, like it sticks with me. And watching it play out with the pros, I love seeing that.
Are you Rams or Chargers?
Oh man, no. So I grew up in NorCal, and I was a little bit of a contrarian growing up. So all my family are Niner fans, except for
Oh
so on my
boy.
mom's side, they're all Niner fans, except for her brother, who's a Cowboys fan, and my dad, who's a Bills fan. I went away from all three of them, and one of my dad's friends, who is a huge Bears fan. I was 5 years old, and this was the same season that Devin Hester was wreaking havoc. I think it was his rookie season.
Right.
And the Bears made it to the Super Bowl. They had a tremendous defense. And my dad's friend, I remember he had like essentially a man cave. He turned a room into a man cave, and it was all decked out in Bear stuff. And I thought it was the coolest thing ever. And I said, this is my team right here. And they haven't been back to Super Bowl since. But Caleb, I like what I see out of Caleb.
I do. I like Caleb Williams. I like my dad is a huge Bears fan. My dad and my mom are both born and raised in Chicago. So they're both born and raised in Chicago. And I grew up in San Diego. Although I was born in Chicago, I just didn't spend enough time there.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, but my mother and father was both born and raised there. So my dad's a huge Bears fan. I'm probably going to surprise him at some point later this year because the Bears are coming up here to play Buffalo this year. So I'm going to surprise him
Oh,
with some tickets,
awesome.
and be able to give him some tickets to go to the game. And do that for his birthday. His birthday's later in the year in September, so hopefully I'll be able to do that, and
That's
hopefully it
great.
works out like that. But yeah, no, I'm a Chargers fan. That's why I was asking the question because I grew up in San Diego, so LT is my favorite player. And I only cried twice in football, and the one time I cried was in 2006 when they lost to the Patriots. I was the best Chargers team I've ever seen in my life. I lived across the street from the stadium. And it was just we knew we were the best team in football, and we lost to the Patriots at home. So yeah, that was pretty tough. That was pretty tough for sure. But I digress because I don't want to bring back more tears. I really
Man,
don't.
no,
But
you've had it rough as a Chargers fan because there was one season, right, where they had number one offense, number one defense, and they missed the postseason, right? It's like,
we did.
How does that happen?
Absolutely nuts. It was insane.
Man.
It really was. I'm a huge foodie, as I told you. I love Hispanic food. I love Italian food. I'm a
Sir.
pizza and wings guy. I like that
Oh, yeah.
too. What is your favorite restaurant to eat out at there in near the Los Angeles area?
This might be the toughest question you have asked me because, as you
Mhm.
know, there is no shortage of amazing food choices down here.
No
And I
shortage.
mean, in Los Angeles, Orange County, you go down to San Diego. I mean, everywhere you can basically throw a stone, and wherever it ends up, it's probably gonna be a good meal.
No
It's-
doubt.
Oh man, this is a great question. I love Tacos Los Cholos. That line it gets pretty ridiculous though. It gets pretty ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, man, you know what? I'm gonna go with King Taco, truthfully, and the one on Cesar
Ooh,
Chavez
yeah.
on
Yes.
Cesar Chavez Avenue. That one, that's the one. Yep, that's my favorite
King
one. I don't
Taco
know,
is delicious. No question.
I don't know how much lemon. I don't know what they're doing back there, but whatever
Mhm.
they're doing, they need to
They're
keep
doing
doing
it
it
right.
because yes, I love King Taco.
I'm a huge outside of King Taco. Have you ever been to Roscoe's? Roscoe's Chicken and
Yes,
Waffles.
I love
Okay.
Roscoe's.
Okay, got you, got you. I'm a huge Roscoe's fan. Every time I come back out there, because I still have family out there in the Los Angeles area, in the Watts area, still
Oh,
got
there we
cousins
go.
out there. So particularly, I like to come out there at least once a year. Obviously, next time I come out there, and we definitely gonna have to link up. There's no question about that,
You know
for
it, my
sure,
man.
for sure, no question about that. But yes, every time I do, Roscoe's is the move. I definitely got to give me some chicken and waffles every time I go out there for sure. I
What's
love
your
that. That's
order?
what's up. Oh, it's the big time waffle with a little bit of syrup on the side,
Mm-hmm.
with a leg and a breast. I gotta
There
have
we
two
go.
pieces of chicken. Two pieces of
Yes.
chicken. And then give me either some diet lemonade or give me something diet. Something diet to drink. And that's what I do. That's my order.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Every
I
time.
love it,
No,
man.
no doubt.
I love
Thank you.
getting that number 18, the one. So I get one piece of chicken, but it's a thigh, and I'll get a thigh and the waffle, and then I'll get a sunset to drink. So it's like that fruit punch lemonade drink.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Absolutely. Okay, no doubt. You got some good taste, my man. I like that. That's what's up. Okay. Now, let's talk about your day to day. As you know, as being a sports journalist, our day to days are never the same. When you're covering games, games have different results. You interview different players because different players step up at different times. You're doing different stories.
Right.
As a freelancer, as you know, we have to call around. I call around, and sometimes I pitch stories. Sometimes I go cover games for this network or this publication, or however that plays out. Talk to me about your day to day of covering games for the Sporting Tribune, or maybe covering stories. How many games do you normally do a week, or stories you do a week, and stuff like that?
Yeah, man. So I've been pretty busy lately. MLS just started back up. And with the whole World Cup break and everything happening in the summer, the league's going to pause for a month. So they're really cramming in games here. So usually MLS is like one game a week, every other week, or maybe once every 3 weeks. There'll be a week with like two matches. So far, the Galaxy they just started 2 weeks ago, and they've already had three matches, and they're coming up on four on Saturday. So
Wow.
yeah, they really hit the ground running with MLS this year. So I've been pretty busy, to start. I'm probably over in Carson twice a week. If I'm not there, sometimes I'll either be at home just freelance, like trying to get a story out, like you said, pitching, reaching out to places, applying to different places. I have some friends that have gotten hired, so just seeing like, hey, how are you guys doing? How's the team over there? Any potential for any opportunities? Just trying to keep my eyes open.
Right.
But then also staying busy. So last fall, I also got to cover the East LA Classic for LA Local, and that was one that I was fishing around, and they actually reached out to me. They said, hey, we're looking for a sports reporter. And, those are the situations I love because it's like, yes, you're looking in the right direction right here.
Absolutely, baby. Absolutely.
So
I
I
love
love it,
it.
man.
I love that. No, that's pretty awesome. And mind you, that's one of the main things I love about freelancing is that you really get the choice to kind of choose what you want to do. You are calling around. Yes, you would like to have something, as far as full time goes, but at the same time, it's really cool to do different type of sports. Like LA has so many different kind of sports teams going on. Obviously, you have two soccer teams. I don't know if you ever do anything for the FC, but obviously you do stuff for the Galaxy, Carson, for
Mhm.
sure. But then you have the Rams, you have the Chargers, you have the Lakers, you have the Clippers, you have the Kings, and then not to mention all the high school sports, the Angels, the Dodgers, not to mention all the minor league sports and stuff
That's
like
right.
that. So you definitely got a lot of opportunities to be able to do that. I know for me out here, I covered a hockey team in lacrosse, but also covered the University of Buffalo. I knew I wanted to start doing some Division I basketball because I want to be able to get to March Madness at some point. At some point, I want to be able to get to March Madness. So I want to start covering some Division I basketball, and then I'm probably going to start covering some baseball coming up very soon
There we
here,
go.
and because I definitely want to do that as well here in the Rochester area, Buffalo area. So I love that, but
Nice.
I love what you're doing, bro. I really do. Talk to me about mental health and work life balance, though, because mental health. A lot of journalists have stepped away from this industry because their mental health was affected. A lot of people have also stepped away because of work life balance. They just can't seem to find that perfect balance. And I understand it's a grind. Sports journalism and also just journalism as a whole, it never stops.
True.
It's all the time. And you work through holidays. You miss time with your family and friends. When you want to turn up and go to a bar with your friends, because I like to work hard and play hard, and I really
That's
do.
right.
No
Yep, me
question,
too.
right? Hello. So, but you get calls. You get the calls on the phone. Doo-doo. Hey, can you go cover the game? Yeah, I got to put the drink down. I got to make sure. Or if I do drink, that first drink is probably something like Coke or some soda or something. It's nothing in it, is
Some
what I'm
water.
trying to say.
Yeah. Yep.
Right,
Yep.
right.
Yep.
There's nothing in it because you never know. Once you get settled in, you settled in, but you never know in the first few minutes how that's gonna go. Talk to me about how you keep your mental health strong, but also still have that work-life balance. Because you seem like a cool cat to be around, man. I certainly wouldn't mind hanging out with you, and I know your friends and family feel the same way. But you also seem very passionate about what you do. So, talk to me about how you keep it all under control and not feel overwhelmed or burnt out.
Oh man, hey, well, right back at you, man. But
Thank you.
truthfully, it's not all sunshines and rainbows. I have my tough days too, but I think the most important thing to have when you have those tough days is a support system. Luckily, my parents are very supportive of what I do. They understand, like, hey, this isn't easy. If this is what you want to do, you really have to be dedicated to it.
Right.
If you want to make money, this probably isn't the career for you right now. But
Right.
it's not about that, It's really for the love of the craft, the love of the game, and this is what I want to do. I want to
Right.
work in sports, and my parents they sacrificed a lot, and my grandparents who migrated here they sacrificed a lot to give me opportunities like this, and I want to make sure that I'm trying to take advantage of this not only for myself, but I have a pretty big family. I have younger cousins, and I want them to have somebody to look up to that trying to push themselves, trying to do more. And not to say that I didn't have that growing up, but not in the way of academics. Academics wasn't really, not that it wasn't valued, but nobody really had an opportunity to pursue college in the way that I have, in
Right.
especially on my mom's side. So it means a lot, and that's part of the reason why I don't quit. When I do have those really tough days, because it's like no, like there's actually a pretty famous quote from Nipsey Hussle. He's one of my favorite rappers, and he says, "If I quit now, with I can quit and turn around, but I'm a lot closer to where I want to be than where I started from."
Right.
And I live by that, man, because I think that's true. If you really have a goal in mind, yes, it might seem like a mirage in the desert where it's closer than it really is, and then you get there and it vanishes, and it happens. It's been there. I've seen it where I've applied to jobs, I get through third round of interviews, things seem like they're going really well, and then I get an email, hey, we're doing a round of layoffs, we're not able to hire you.
Right.
I've heard it all, man, and I get it. And you know, it's one of those things where you can't hate the player. You know, you gotta hate the game. Yeah. And
Right.
even then,
Right.
it's nah, man. You just charge it to the game. Like there's certain things that you gotta keep going, and I'm really a big believer in that. And not to say that you should ignore whatever's going on in your personal life. Nah, if you need to step away, take a break. Take a break. Take a week. Take 2 weeks. Take, you know, whether if you just need a day, if you need a weekend, however much time you need. I think that's
Right.
valuable too.
Absolutely.
And I get it. You know, I work 2 jobs. I have I do substitute teaching, and I have this freelancing thing. Oh, I also do like caterings and deliveries for Stonefire. So I guess that makes 3 jobs. So I get it. You know, sometimes free time is hard to come by, but if you can find a way to get away, even for just a day, I think that's important, because when you make emotional decisions, that's where, you know, you can have some regret. That's where you can say, oh man, I don't think I really meant to do that. Stuff like that. So I think it's important to have that support system, to really talk things out, to really, you know, get to the bottom of how you're feeling, whether that's, you know, your friends and family or professional. You know, I've seeked help before as well from a professional therapist, stuff like that, and whatever works. I think you should definitely leave no stone unturned when it comes to your mental health.
Absolutely.
Try everything.
Yes.
Try everything that you see recommended online, or if your friends have any recommendations. Like lately, I started drinking teas. You know, and when I was a kid, I didn't like tea, but now I've realized, like, okay, you know, this is really nice. Like, I'm not a big fan of the caffeine. You know, that caffeine gets me all anxious and stuff. So the tea's like a pretty good alternative, and most of it's organic. You know, natural, good stuff from what I know. So yeah, I think there's nothing wrong with trying to find different ways to make sure your mental health is okay.
I love that. I love that answer. And you gave great answers so far in the conversation, but I really love that particular answer, Ant, because it's no one right answer to the question. But at the same time, you know, and again, I appreciate the transparency about talking about therapy. People looked at therapy like as a weakness before. I think the more we talk about mental health, it's important to document that, you know, it's okay to be not okay.
Yep.
It's all right to be, you know, in a state of I need help, or I need to seek somebody out, and because sometimes when you seek loved ones out, especially family and friends, they tell you what you want to hear because they don't want to see you down like that. They want to see you in an uplifting kind of spirit. But sometimes you do need to seek out professional help because professionals are neutral and they'll tell you what you need to hear instead of what you
Exactly.
want to hear.
Right.
And I love that. I also love the fact you said support system. No question about that. In this industry, you're definitely going to have some days where discouragement is going to come in. You're going to be discouraged because you'll probably get some no's, or you'll get some layoffs, or you'll think that you are ready for an opportunity and you may not get it at that particular time. And I always tell my kids, especially the high schoolers that ask me about journalism that I substitute teach, I tell them you're going to get a lot more no's than yeses in this industry of
True
journalism.
that.
But all you need is one yes. And once you get one yes, you can be able to build off that yes. And build yourself a great portfolio and a great resume. But you can't get discouraged from the word no, because you can't dictate what these employers are looking for. And that's male or female. You just don't know what they're looking for. And I used to be like, well, man, you know, you see somebody on TV and you like, damn, I can do that. I know I can do it. You feel in your heart. You have the confidence. I know I can do that. I can talk that game, or I can write like that. But
Hmm.
your journey is not their journey. And you're going to drive yourself crazy trying to, you know, replicate what their journey is, or trying to be the same as what they are. They got where they are through their journey, and you'll get to where you'll get to at your time. And that's something I had to learn as years has went by, for sure, because I definitely didn't learn that coming out of school, for sure. But
I hear you, man.
I, you know what I mean?
I feel like you kind of have to learn the hard way to really get the true meaning of that message too. You know, like
No
it,
question.
until it hits you in the face, you know, you don't really know what it feels like.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, this is a great segue, though, because I want to talk to you about advice. Now you being a college graduate, now you in the field. And you've been doing this for a few years now, collegiately and professionally. What is some advice that you would give someone that is coming into Cal State Fullerton as a freshman that's going to be working at the Daily Titan, or a recent graduate, somebody that wants to do the job that you're doing, male or female? What kind of advice would you give that individual?
Sure. Honestly, I would tell them try everything, do everything, because Cal State Fullerton gives you the opportunity to. If you want to host a radio show, host a radio show. If you want to be an anchor, go be an anchor. If you want to be a director or an EP for one of the shows that they have on campus, I believe it airs on closed circuit TV here in Fullerton, go do that. If you want to cover live sports, ESPN Plus has an internship. It started, I believe, either my second to last semester or my last semester at Cal State Fullerton. They just started an ESPN Plus internship where you can, produce live events, all the sporting events on campus on ESPN Plus. So that's really cool, and that's one of the things that I love about Cal State Fullerton is that you have all of these opportunities, and you're not paying, there's no disrespect to USC, but man, it is not cheap to go to school there.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
And there's a reason for it. They have some of the top notch facilities, and that Annenberg school it's something, man. It's a beast. But
it's the truth, no question.
It is, and Cal State Fullerton, it's nothing to laugh at either. Not to say that we're at the same level of USC. Our budgets are a little different, but you have similar opportunities. You can get in front of the camera. You can write stories. You can produce. You can even do social media. That would be a huge thing I would consider for Daily Titan. Something that I wish I did more while I was there. Use social media more. Whether that's like, going around the newsroom and asking fun questions to everybody, or having a sports reporter do something like, hey, have you ever wondered what it's like to cover a Cal State Fullerton baseball game? Stuff like that. Like have fun with it. Bring your personality into it. It doesn't have to be all, hard news, breaking news. It doesn't have to be super strict. I would say in college, you almost never get that leeway to just try stuff ever again. So why not?
I love that. I do. Now, mind you, a lot of professors I know at Kennesaw State University used to advocate to me and say, well, you got to start small. You got to go to the small market, and you got to work your way up. But none of them really did two things. And two of the things that they left out, which was one, to me, now that I'm looking back at it in my collegiate career, I've been out of college for a few years now. Now that I look back at it, it really doesn't matter what school that you go to. It's how you make the experience of the school that you're at. Now, granted, USC, great school. Northwestern, Missouri, Syracuse. These schools that I'm throwing out, guys, have some of the top-notch journalism programs out there.
Big dogs. Yep.
Georgia's another one with the Grady School that they have. Indiana University is another school. So, yes, those are some big-time schools. However, most of the schools that I just mentioned are private schools. And like Ant was talking about, they cost a lot of money. And unless you got top-notch grades or you got parents that could really pay, you're probably not going to get into those schools or be able to afford them. So you have to make the best of your opportunities. Most people go to state schools. Ant went to a state school in Cal State. I went to Kennesaw State. It is not impossible for you to be able to cover sports and do what you love if you go to a state school. You got to make the best of your opportunity that you have. That's number one. Number one thing. Number two, you don't have to start small. True. There's no need for you to start small. You don't have to have that kind of mindset of, I got to start low at the totem pole. What you need to have the mindset of is being proactive. And what I mean by that is being on, when you're on social media, seeking out professionals in the field. I say shadow somebody. When you're in college and school, shadow the people that you want to be able to do. You want to be an anchor? Email some people at some stations. Shadow them. You want to be a reporter? Shadow them on the field. You want to be a sideline reporter? Shadow them on the sideline. These are the type of individuals that you need to seek out and get, because you will gain valuable experience, because the classroom is only going to teach you so much. And you know this. Being in the classroom is only going to teach you so much, but at the end of the day, once you hit that field and you in it live, it's a whole different ball game. And
That's
this is
right.
going to be some stuff that's going to hit you that you ain't learned, and it's going to surprise you at first. And that's with any kind of journalism job that you have. So those are the two things that I like to advocate on top of what Ant was talking about, for sure.
That's facts, man. It's true. And the other thing is, a lot of people might get scared and say, "Oh, well, how am I going to reach out to these people?" Luckily, there is a great connector, and this goes there's a lot of different associations, but the one that I'm a part of is NAHJ. I'm sure you've heard of NABJ. The
Yep.
first journalism conference I ever attended was an NABJ NAHJ, the co-hosted conference in Vegas, 2022. That was my first journalism conference.
Wow.
What an experience!
Wow.
That was crazy, but it really opened my eyes to like, oh wow, like these people are accessible. It's awesome. I met Marcus Thompson, who was somebody that I remember reading his stories. He was covering the Warriors.
He's out in the Bay. Yeah.
Yeah. He really got it out the mud, and he kept it authentic, and you can see it in his stories. And I just remember like telling him, hey, I want you to know, like, this is a huge inspiration to me. I read your stories when I look for motivation for myself, and just having that conversation with him, having conversations with different people. And you never know when you're going to run into, the people that you meet at these conferences or associations, or whether it's like on Zoom, however you meet.
Yep.
You never know when you're going to run into them again. For example, I don't want to go off on too much of a tangent, but yesterday I saw Bernardo Osuna, the guy that covers boxing for ESPN. I met him at an NAHJ conference 2 years ago, and I hadn't seen him since. And he, popped into the Galaxy press box, and it was, hey, we hadn't skipped a beat. And the thing that I really loved about that was that so we were put next to each other in the press box, our seats were neighboring seats, and I got to ask him, hey, what's it like covering the World Cup? Because he's covered two, and he told me he's gearing up to cover his third World Cup. I'd like to cover my first World Cup this year.
Yeah.
So had I, not been comfortable with him at NHJ, built that rapport, who knows if I would have built up the courage, really, pick his brain on how to cover a World Cup. So I would say if there's an association that speaks to you, join it.
I love that. And speaking of that, just to ask this bonus question, because yes, I am a part of NABJ, but I'm also going to be going to the NAHJ this year. It's in New Orleans. Are you going?
There we go. I haven't got my ticket yet, but I'd like to go. The thing is,
Okay.
I'm going to be covering, I still applied, so I'm going to try to cover the World Cup. If I get approved to cover the World Cup, I got to be there. But
Sure.
Yeah. But if that doesn't work out for whatever reason, then for sure, I'd like to be at an NAHJ. I've gone to the last, since 22. So 22, 23, 24, 4 in a row now since 20, including 25.
Yeah, absolutely. This particular year, last year I went to NA. I did not go to 25. 25 was in Cleveland for NABJ. NABJ 24 was in Chicago. Went to that one. That's the one that Trump came to. So you remember that one, right?
Yes,
so that's the one that Trump came to in Chicago. Now 26 is going to be in Atlanta, Georgia, which of course that's my old stomping grounds. That's where my family, my mom, my uncle, my aunt is there. I'm definitely going to that one. No question about that. But Natalie Martinez, who is someone from NBC5 who's been on my podcast, is one of the leaders in NAHJ. She is somebody who says, Chris, you got to come out to NAHJ. I was like, and last year it was in Chicago, if I'm not mistaken. Right. NAHJ was. So I was going to go there, but unfortunately I got sick. So I was like, couldn't do that. And I said, Natalie, I got to do it for 26. She said, well, 26 is going to be in New Orleans. I said, I just went to the Super Bowl in New Orleans. So I'm definitely going to try to come back out there again. That gives me a reason to come back out to New Orleans. She's like, okay, bet. So if you do get a chance to cover that World Cup, obviously, man, salute to you and congratulations, no doubt, Ant. But if not, brother, let's link up in NAHJ in New Orleans in the Big Easy. No question. No question about that. Okay, yes, I'm with that. Now, this next one here is called Bucket List. And the reason why it's called Bucket List is because I want you to speak this into fruition. Okay? Give me a top 4 list of events or stories or games that you would like to cover in your career that you haven't done yet.
Sweet. Well, I think I gave the first one away already. World Cup. That's a big goal of mine this year. If I can cover the World Cup, that'd be huge. And the fact that it's back in the U.S., like this is perfect. You know, I would love to cover the World Cup. Not only the games, but I want to try and cover feature stories. You know, I want to talk to a family that had to, you know, maybe sell a car or something just to get here to watch their nation in the World Cup, or
Right.
you know, the family that drove 3,000 miles across the country because they couldn't afford a plane. You know, whatever the case is, like I want to cover stories like that that are human interest, that really tell you, hey, you know, this is what the World Cup is about. You know,
Right.
this sports is the great unifier. So World
Absolutely.
Cup, definitely number one. Super Bowl would be fantastic, man. Super Bowl would be a dream come true.
You would love that. You would love it.
I bet, man. It looks like a great time, and just the
Mhm.
spectacle of it all. You know, it's the great American sport. It's a great American event. Um, it's coming up soon, but I'd love to cover the World Baseball Classic one day.
Oh yeah.
Man, it's very similar to the World Cup in terms of, like, you know, being a unifier, seeing all the different cultures. But what I really like about the World Baseball Classic, and you see it in FIFA too in the World Cup, but there's a lot of dual nationals. You know, people who are, you know, maybe born in the U.S. or born somewhere else, and they choose to represent maybe where their mother's from, or both their parents, or where their grandmother's from. I love that. You know, it gives them an opportunity to play for their roots, and that's really cool.
I like
Uh,
that.
Yeah, the WBC is awesome, man. I love it. So let's see. You said four, right? So WBC, World Cup, Super Bowl.
One more.
I'm gonna stay local, and I'm gonna say the Rose Bowl. I've never covered the
Oh,
Rose Bowl game, and
oh
I would
wow.
love to. There's so much history there.
There is no question about that. And if I'm not mistaken, next year the Rose Bowl is going to be one part of one of the playoff games, as the college football playoff is going to actually be in Vegas. The national championship game is going to be in Vegas next year, so that's going to
Oh
be
man.
absolutely amazing. No question
Yep.
about that. I love the fact you said World Baseball Classic because I am a huge baseball fan. Love baseball. I wish that the World Baseball Classic will come this way, but I guess it's still too cold out here for them to be playing baseball out here in the Buffalo area. But that's amazing. I hope you get a chance to cover that. The Super Bowl, and my man, when it comes out there to Inglewood, which is coming out there to Inglewood next year,
That's right.
you are absolutely going to love it if you get a chance to cover it because they do a media party
Cool.
during the week. So they have opening night, which is always on a Monday. Then
Hmm.
that Tuesday they do a media party. So everybody that's in the media, you go to this media party, you get to network with so much media there. I talked to Master Pete in New Orleans. It was absolute, yeah. It was crazy, bro. It was a crazy
Make
time.
them
Plus
say,
they have make them say, bro. They have food and drinks. They have like food stations where you just pick up free food and free drinks. You don't pay for nothing. Everything's all
say
paid
less.
for.
Say
So I'm
less.
like, yo, that is wild. They had food trucks. They had a band. That's what they had in New Orleans. So I can only imagine what Inglewood would be like. I can only imagine what Inglewood would be like next year. And best believe I will be there next year to
Oh
to
yeah.
try to cover this Super Bowl. So I'm hoping I see you there. That's for sure.
I
No
hope so
question.
too, man. Hopefully we can link up at that media party.
No doubt. Oh, my boy. That media party was off the chain in New Orleans. I know it's going to be off the chain in Inglewood for sure. But we have ran into the portion now of my podcast. Now that we're going to do my interactive game called
Let's
This or
do it.
That. It is a game I like to play with all my guests here on the Work Hard, Play Harder podcast, and it's very simple. I'm going to throw some things at you, and you get to choose this or that. So, Ant, are you ready?
Let's do it.
All right. All right, here we go. Out of these two restaurants, let's see if you're a true Californian. Out of these two restaurants, which restaurant would you rather eat at? In and Out
Hmm.
or Five Guys?
Oh man, come on. In and out all day, man. Listen, Five Guys is great. You know, I'm not gonna deny the quality of Five Guys. But man, I shouldn't have to be paying 20 some odd dollars for a burger, fries, and a drink. Man,
Yeah, that's a lot.
give me a number one. Let me get a mustard fried, extra spread. Let me get some fries, extra spread, grilled onions.
I feel that, my boy.
All
I
day.
feel that. Give me that double and give me a vanilla shake with it. That's what I'm with. That's what I'm with. That okay?
Shakes are good.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Okay. All right. Here we go. When it comes to chicken wings, which flavor would you rather put on a wing? Barbecue or lemon pepper?
Oh man, this one. Oh, it's a good question. I love them both. But I think if it's like a smoky barbecue, I love like that smoky barbecue flavor. Like not too sweet, like that. Man, that's my all day. I'll eat that all day.
Okay. Now, do you like your wings wet or dry?
Wet, I think so. I think
Okay.
wet. I'll eat them both. But if I had to pick one, I think yeah, I need
For
some
sure.
sauce.
For sure. I'm with you on that. Do you like your wings bone in or boneless?
It depends. If I'm in, like something nice, I don't want to get dirty or anything. I'm like, man, you know what? I'll just get boneless. I'll make it easy. But if I'm just chilling, hanging out, watching football on a Sunday or something, bone in, man. I feel like the bone in has just more flavor to it. I mean, it's an actual piece of chicken, not a chicken nugget.
Right.
So,
Right.
but,
A lot of people say that too. A lot of people say chicken nugget. And I feel you on that.
but I get
I'm the
it.
same way. For sure. For sure. Okay. I'm with you on that. These next 5 questions have to do with music concerts you'd rather attend. Okay. So here we go. First music concert. Which music artist would you rather go see? J. Cole or Lil Wayne?
Oh, this is tough, man. I grew up with both of them, but I'm gonna say J. Cole. I'm gonna say J. Cole because I mean, not to disrespect Wayne or anything, but he's a little bit older. I feel like J. Cole's got a little bit more in the tank, so I'm gonna go with J. Cole.
Okay. Now, did you hear J. Cole's new album?
I have, man, and he was just over here. He was at USC, and you know what? Everybody's talking about like how did the Civic make it across the country. I want to know how did J. Cole hit? Where'd he go? He hit like the Fox Hills Mall. He hit USC. He was at Marathon Burger. How did you get to all these places in one day? Man.
I'm trying to understand that. I don't understand because that traffic out there is stupid crazy. There's no question about that.
He must have had a police escort or something, or underground tunnel, or helicopter.
It would not surprise me if Cole did. It's a cold world. It wouldn't surprise me. That's for sure. That's for sure, my boy. Okay. Favorite concert. Or not favorite concert, but which concert would you rather attend? Kendrick Lamar or Drake?
Oh, man. I grew up a pretty big Drake fan. When that whole beef was happening, I was so conflicted just because, like, man, when Good Kid, Mad City came out, I was 13 years old, and that changed everything for me. Like, I love that album.
Right.
But you know what? I've been to a Drake concert. He's okay as a performer. He doesn't really rap into the mic. You know what I mean? And I feel like Kendrick, he's rapping into the mic every single song, not missing a beat. So I'm gonna say Kendrick. I feel like Kendrick's a better performer.
Oh, no question. No question on that. I'm with you 10,000. Which artist would you rather see in concert? Would you rather see, I would say, Ozuna, or would you rather see Romeo Santos?
Wow, you're really coming at me with the good questions today, man. My mom, she loved Romeo Santos, man. Like,
I don't know a woman that don't.
There would be times she's blasting it at 7 or 8 in the morning, and that's when I knew, oh, we're cleaning today. Okay.
Right.
But that was like her stuff, man. But because it reminds me of all the times I was cleaning, I'm gonna say Ozuna.
I feel you on that, dog. I feel you on that.
I got better.
I'm with you on Ozuna. Okay, here we go. We are 3 for 3 right now.
Let's do it.
Which music artist out of these two would you rather go see, Usher or Chris Brown?
Wow, this is a good question. Chris Brown was really hot. Like when I was a kid, I remember that he was everywhere. And Usher's a legend, same thing. But that was a little bit like before my childhood. So when I was growing up, Usher was a little, he wasn't rocking the U chain anymore. But man, I feel like an Usher concert would be entertaining, just because you see like the TikToks and stuff, people wilding out the Usher concert.
For sure,
I feel like an Usher concert you'd have some stories to tell.
Okay, I'm with you on that. Now, this the last one. Okay, we're gonna switch it back to the rap.
Right.
Which artist would you rather go see in concert? Would you rather see 2 Chainz or Big Sean?
You know what? I remember when 2 Chainz was going by Titty Boy. I'm gonna go with 2 Chainz, man. That song, I remember hearing them with Lil Wayne, the Duffel Bag
Okay,
Boy.
if
That
I
was the
don't
first
do nothing, I'm a boss.
ball, man. Counting all day like the clock on the wall, man.
I'm
That
so
was
with you on that.
yeah.
I'm with you. Okay, Titty Boy. That's right. That's right. Most people don't know him as Titty Boy, so I like that.
Right.
I like the history
Pe-
right there,
People
dog.
got
I
introduced to
do.
him with that Mercy verse. You know, he was hot in 2012, but man, I
Yes, he
remember
was.
before that. I was growing up at that time. I grew up on all that stuff.
Yes, indeed. This is a bonus one. I know I had five, but I'm a bonus one.
I
Or
love it.
which one would you rather go see? Would you rather go see Jeezy or Gucci Mane?
This is a great question. When I was in elementary school, I remember a lot of people would get in trouble for wearing that snowman shirt, the GC one. I love Gucci Mane. I'm gonna say Jeezy, man. Jeezy was, dude. My
I'm with you.
dad would listen to Jeezy, so I was like, oh yeah, no, this guy's
Oh,
he's hard, man. He's hard.
the Thug Motivation 101, 102, 103. Yeah, all of them,
Man,
bro. No
classic.
doubt. No doubt. Okay, I'm with you on that. Now, do you like desserts?
I love desserts. Love me a sweet
Okay.
treat.
So I'm going to name 4 categories of desserts, and you got to choose one of these to get rid of that you would never eat again. So here we go.
Uh-oh. All right.
The first one is ice cream. The second one is candy. The third one is cookies. The last one is cake/pies. They group together. So which one are you getting rid of?
You know what? I think I'm gonna have to go with candies, man. There's some really good candies, but I could do without it. You know, man. If I can get a whole cake, like man, especially like some red velvet or even like marble cake, I love that. Yeah,
My
I'll take that all
boy,
day.
you are on point like a period tonight, boy. I'm telling you that right now, my boy. You on point. I like that. Now let me ask you, what's your favorite ice cream?
Favorite flavor, man. So Thrifty, summertime. I love their cotton candy. It's like so nostalgic for me. That was like the first flavor I ever really like, grasped to.
Okay.
You can't have it all the time. It's a little too sweet to have all the time. But it
Sure.
just takes me back to when I was a kid, man. Like that was my favorite flavor then, and I'm always say that.
And for those of you that don't know what my man Ant talking about, Thrifty is one of those kind of stores that you would go in and they had a little ice cream section that they would go into. I know what you're talking about. Then
That's
you would
right.
turn in there and you
I
would get
forgot
the
it.
cone.
It's not a nationwide thing yet.
Right, right. You know, it used to be called Savon. Hey, you remember when it was called Savon, or did you?
Oh,
Or did
man.
you?
No,
You
I grew up with Thrifty.
okay, you grew up with Thrifty. Okay, so if you get a chance, ask your dad because I was stupid young. Ask your dad if he remembers Thrifty being Savon.
Okay.
And I promise you that when you went in there, I used to always get the waffle cone because I used to always eat the cone up after I do the ice cream.
Yep.
My flavor was cookies and cream. So yeah, that definitely was my flavor for sure. I love that.
Mandatory.
Okay, that's what's up. Do you like potato chips?
I love chips, man.
Okay, same format. I'm gonna name 4 brands. You gotta get rid of one of these brands that you'll never eat again. So let's
All right.
rock. The first
Do it.
brand is Pringles. The next brand is Lay's. The next brand is Ruffles. The last brand is Doritos. Which one are you getting rid of?
I'm gonna go, and this is tough because I do like all 4 of these.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna get rid of Ruffles, only because I feel like the other options have a little bit more variety. Like more flavors. Yeah, I feel like Ruffles is just kind of they have like it's either cheese or plain, and I could do without it.
I feel it. I feel it, Ant. But we have definitely. This is the first time we have disagreed on anything all night long. But that's
Oh,
okay.
man. Okay.
That's all right. Because
to me.
listen, that means there's more Ruffles for me. Because that's my favorite chip.
There we
Ruffles,
go.
sour cream, and cheddar is my favorite chip. But if I said, Ant, we walking into a store, go to the chip aisle and buy your favorite chip to eat. What are you buying?
So I guess technically it would fall under Lay's, but it's a Mexican chip. They're called rancheritos. They're like these like strips basically, like, and they're not normal like the triangles. It's strips and they're seasoned. Probably have a whole bunch of salt and a bunch of stuff that's not good for you. But man, I love me a bag of rancheritos. Every time I go to Mexico, I make sure to bring some bags back. Like and they have the little logo, but it's called Sabritas over there. It's the same logo as
Sabrita.
Lay's, though. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Now I'm a little. If it ain't sour cream and cheddar ruffles for me, I'm a little crazy with it. Like I like the hot Cheetos, but I actually put the nacho cheese on them. So I'll open the
Oh,
bag and I'll put the nacho cheese on it and I'll shake the bag up and then I'll eat the chips like that. That's what I would do.
there we go.
And that's just I think those are so fire. I love it with the nacho cheese on them, the hot Cheetos. So yeah, those are pretty good. I try to eat those in a limited capacity now. not
Nah, man,
not as much as
that's a real California snack right there.
right, right. So yeah, I gotta watch it now. But back when I was a kid, man, yo, I used to tear that thing up for sure, no question. Now we talked. You did pretty good on this. Actually, you know what? I still got two more of this or that. Well, I'm cutting off two questions.
Nah, it's all good. Let's hear it.
Sports. Which sport would you rather play, badminton or bowling?
You know, I think I have fun bowling with my friends. You know, but badminton's cool and everything, but I've never played it, so I'm gonna go with bowling.
Okay. Are you a good bowler?
Not really. I bowl like 100, 150 if I'm lucky. Nah,
Okay.
I'm just there
Okay.
for vibes, man.
I feel you. I love it. I love it. No doubt. And listen, I'm not that great either. I'll be honest with you, but
Yeah, nah.
I do like having cold beverages and having a good time, socializing with some friends. That'd be amazing, no question. Which sport of these two would you rather watch on TV, baseball or hockey?
Okay, so baseball in person and baseball on TV, I think two different sports, man.
Hmm.
It's not the same. Like you gotta be in the
It's not.
stadium, you gotta hear the man saying "can of corn" or you know cold beer, whatever, man. You gotta be in the stands. So I'm gonna say
Sure.
hockey. And the thing about hockey is that like it's so much faster pace. You know the puck's always moving, and truthfully, I think hockey is one of, if not the hardest sport to play. I mean, the puck is about the size of my fist. They're on skates. They can fight each other. They're slamming into each other. Yeah, no, that's something that let me get some cold ones in me, and I'd love to watch that any day.
Yeah, that's true skill right there. I tell anybody that's true skill to be doing what they do
Oh
for
yeah.
sure, no question. Now you did pretty good on this with that, very decisive. I like that, Ant, no question. I'm gonna ask this next question though, and that's about advice. We talked about advice you would give, but I want to know what is some advice that someone has gave you that you hold on dearly to.
Oh man, shout out to Beto Duran. He's another one of my mentors that I met at NAHJ, and
Mm.
he was huge, huge, huge on. And when he first met me, he came up to me and he said, "Oh hey, you're Anthony. You write for the Sporting Tribune. You went to Cal State Fullerton." And I was like taken aback by it. What? How, you know me? I'm the one that was watching you on TV.
Right,
And he said, "No, you know why? Because I take the time to try and get to know, my peers, and I want to get to know the people that I'm gonna be working with, or maybe working for one day." And he said, "You should do the same." And I that stuck with me. I try to keep my relationships. Obviously, you're not trying to blow these people up every day. Like I'm not gonna be sending Chris
right,
messages every single day. But you got to keep the
right.
flame going. You got to keep in touch, and that's something that's huge, and it stuck with me. And like I said, last night I ran into Bernardo, and that conversation immediately came into my head. Like, hey, you gotta keep that flame going, and I did, and it was really cool. Like I said, it was like we didn't miss a beat, and I got to ask him so many questions, and I think it really all started with my mentor, Beto Duran. He's the one that told me, you got to keep your relationships and you got to maintain your relationships. It's one thing to meet people. It's another thing to have them as a mentor.
Absolutely. I remember talking to Steve Weiss of the NFL Network. And he was actually the very first guest that I've had here on the Work Hard, Play Hard podcast. I've had over 400 plus episodes, and
Oh, yeah.
he told me, he said, don't forget where you came from, and always remember to network. But don't just network, and like you said, maintain. But don't forget where you came from. Don't forget the grind, and remember your story. And the main thing he wanted to get across to me was to remember your story, because your story is a part of your why. of why you do what you do. And it truly is.
Yep.
The grind is part of the love of the reason why I like to do this. The networking is great. It's awesome. It's amazing. Some people you network with, yeah, you talk to them once every blue moon, and sometimes it's once every blue moon. Some people it's going to be a little bit more frequent. Some people is really going to help you out and get you a new role or get you to some place that you never thought you would be. But if you continue to remember your story and remember where you came from, you'll never get complacent, and you'll never forget your why of why you're doing what you're doing. So I love that advice that Steve Weiss gave me. I really do, because he's definitely somebody who I turn to and definitely talk to whenever I write something, wherever I need to talk to. Yeah, he's definitely one of them for sure. And my man, this has been a real dope conversation, and of just learning about you, your why, being from Williams, California, from NorCal. I ain't never had this much synergy with somebody from NorCal, because normally NorCal and Southern Cal, we are on opposite ends, man. But
That's
you know
right,
what?
man.
We got such great synergy, man. And I love just the passion that you exhibit. I love just the attitude that you have. I love the work that you've done. I have read a couple of your articles, and I'm a new fan of yours. There's no question about it, man. I'm going to be following you out there from the West Coast, doing your thing. I'm hoping that we can link up down the line, because, like I said, I think you dope, man. I think you good, and it's always great to see another minority brother doing his thing passionately, man. Because we don't have enough of us in this industry, in my opinion. I think we need more of us,
You're
black and
absolutely
brown.
right.
No question about that. So, brother, I support you. Again, I'm a new fan. I appreciate you allocating your time to me to be on my podcast and talk about your why and get to know you a little bit. My final question to you before I let you go is there anything else you'd like to add about yourself, the job, the industry, or anything at all before we conclude?
Sure, man. First, before I do that, I just want to say thank you again, Chris. I really appreciate it, man. This is so cool. And, I haven't been asked to join a lot of podcasts. I've done, one before, but this is cool. Like, I love it, man. I really appreciate it. It was dope getting to know you, man. Like, this is cool. If I don't see you at NAHJ, I hope I see you at the Super Bowl.
No doubt,
But
no doubt.
for myself, man, one last thing that I would like to add. I'd like to say long live my friend, Luis Jaime Davalos. He passed away 2022. He was huge influence on my life. That guy was like Superman to me. He was somebody that, he was 2 years older than me, but man, he was like a big brother to me, and he always looked out for me. And I think about that guy all the time. And something that he actually told me that I'll never forget, he always said, do what you love, man. Do what you love. And it seems simple, but it sticks with me, because you should love what you do. You know what they say, like, if you love what you do, you don't work a day in your life. And I think that's true. And, he told me that, so I want to give him the credit. And then my uncle, Anthony Bautista, he passed away in 2024, my dad's older brother. And he was another big role model for me. He was a stand-up guy. He did everything the right way. He lived on a little farm. He had his chickens, he had his goats, and
Right.
I think about him all the time. So those two are always on my mind, and just want to give them the time here.
I appreciate that, man. Appreciate you again, your transparency of bringing those two wonderful individuals. God rest their soul. My condolences to you and your family. And I know they're looking down on you, saying what a hell of a job you're doing down there representing our name and being the man that you've becoming to be. Again, Anthony, my man, it's been a pleasure talking to you here. Enjoy your Thursday night and the rest of your weekend. You and I will most certainly be in touch. Thank you for coming on to the podcast.
You know it, brother. Thanks, Chris, man. I hope you have a great weekend. I hope you take care, and I'll see you soon.
Yes, sir.
All right, man. Have a good night.
You too.